designer for Haphazard Projects, and I want to do a little bit of something different today. So, today was my first time using an emulator to run a story that I designed. So, I used the Mythic Game Master emulator, second edition, and ran a story that will be focused upon in my next game as a main plot point. Specifically, the character On and his escape from captivity and trying to adapt to life on Earth. So, as you can see, I required a fair bit of paperwork. That's not all. That's not all. But wait, there's more. This notebook and these papers also had to be used. Forgive the mess on my bed, but it's mostly because I needed this to use for the emulator. Now, this tells me a couple of things. While the process of playing the game solo was quite fun, the emulator process itself is a mess. It is all over the place. You're constantly having to turn back and forth to various tables. Now, my suggestion to use Mythic is to print out the pages that they suggest you print, primarily the fake question chart, the random event tables, and the descriptors. Put them in the order you will need to use them, not in the order of pages. Like, don't do it by page number. Put them in the order that you think you're going to need to refer to them as. I would suggest the fake questions chart first, then the random table, then your actual adventure journal. I had to check and see what it was called. And then your descriptors. That is how I was able to do it and get everything to work well. The system works great for what it is. It's just a little too unwieldy for me, which heightens my desire to do an emulator system with my next project, which I'm still working on. But I wanted to tell you about the story that I ran. So, I wrote a scenario using, and let me get to the cover of this, the Adventure Crafter. Now, the Adventure Crafter is awesome. It works great for any system. It works great for any setting. It is absolutely amazing. I highly suggest you check it out. But I wrote the scenario based upon random rolls from the Adventure Crafter. That's how I made my scenario. So, and then I started to do the adventure journal and I started playing. So, I basically was playing an alien from off-world who was captured by his own kind and was going to be exposed to the vacuum of space and killed. However, something happened, which I never found out what it was. Something happened to where the ship crashed on Earth, and the character On, A-H-N, On, survived the crash, along with several of his captors. I can't read my chicken scratch from there. He finds a lone Shockwray attacker. Shockwray is the empire that had imprisoned him. So he finds a lone shock ray attacker, beats him to a pulp before reinforcements arrive. Um, there are 6 of them. Now, he beats the 6, but 9 more come up on the way. So, because of the beating he had taken, he decided to run away, and he was successful. During the next scene, there was a secretive police force that came to the crash site and started investigating. On was able to avoid them, able to catch his breath for a little bit, heal up a little bit. That agency leaves the area with parts of the alien technology. So that's going to be a lead into another adventure, I'm sure. Then local police arrives in force, but On evades them all, manages to get away. So On, beaten, tired, a little upset, starts to search for food and water. However, he can find no game animals. The best he can do is trap some rabbits and squirrels, eats a little bit. Takes him a long time to find a water source, which is a local river. He manages to purify the water, but he is found by local law enforcement who is searching the area. Now, after some wheeling and dealing and some conversation, On managed to convince the local law enforcement, local police department, to look out for more shock ray and to help On. So, in the next scene, local PD FBI sets him up with an apartment, but he's tracked down by a character known as the Strange Man. Strange Man is an established character within my game settings. On tries to convince the Strange Man to leave him alone. He doesn't want to do anything but rest, but his request is ignored. The Strange Man says that he wants On to help him with an upcoming fight against a super soldier who is going to destroy an area. That area being an important industrial complex. So the next scene, this is scene 5, this was a long session, is the fight between the super soldier and On. On manages to sneak up on the super soldier, but he pushes his luck and tries to get into melee, and he's noticed, so his advantage is wasted. He scores a massive hit with a gravity sledge, but the battle is grueling because the cyborg has highly advanced weaponized projectiles that do a lot of damage. But after, I think it was 7 rounds of combat, On emerged victorious. So then he goes back to his safe house, trying to rest. He's watching some TV, trying to find out about local customs, and the shock ray track him home. There is a huge fight. Let's see here. During the battle, in a desperate bid to stay alive, he uses a gravity bomb, killing all the shock ray. The apartment is severely damaged, but he manages to fix it up enough so he can rest for the night. And that's where I called the session, because if I had gone on, it would have been crazier. All this was due to the Adventure Crafter. Now, both of these sources come from Word Mill Press. This is not a paid advertisement for them. This is just because I am a fan of their work. The Adventure Crafter is a priceless addition to anyone who's wanting to do solo play or needs help creating a session for any role-playing game whatsoever. It takes a little bit of interpretation to apply it to your individual setting, but that's actually quite simple if you know your setting very well. If you're very familiar with it, you will have no problems twisting what is printed into what you need. It's a very simple process. Now, going back to the Mythic system, they use what's called an oracle for the fate questions, which is basically you ask yes or no questions. You cross-reference this with the chaos factor, which says how crazy the events are around you. The chaos factor during this session was actually fairly low because On usually came out on top. Excuse me. But the yes-no questions that are used by the Mythic engine really push forward the story. So Mythic, the Game Master Emulator 2nd edition, does some things really well. It's just a pain to refer to various sections and whatnot. Anyway, that's my little review. That's my first story. I think next time I'm going to pick up with the story where I left off and actually show you how it works, or how I use it at least, during gameplay here on video. So once again, my name is Eric Padraig. I want to thank you very much for watching. I wish you happy gaming, and just roll those 20s, or roll those highest results you can, the best results you can in your games. I wish you all the fun in the world,